How's it going, everybody? In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Pegasus rework. Do these reworks make them good enough to be good everywhere in the game, not just raids, or is this not enough? I'm going to let you be the judge. We're going to break down what it is. I'm going to tell you my thoughts, but of course, I'm excited to know what you guys are thinking in that comment section below. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment, and I'll make sure that we come down, we can have a very interesting conversation. But until then, take care and enjoy the video. Let's start talking about these reworks with who is inarguably the character that people wanted to see the most improvement on, and that is going to be our Iron Man Infinity War. So his traits are Hero, Global Tech, Brawler, Avenger, Pegasus. I don't think they changed anything. That Avenger tag does a lot of lifting though. That means he could be usable with a character like Hulk, Black Widow. Although that big tag is all encompassing, and so I'm always kind of keeping an eye on it and seeing if anything comes across our screen that's going to make it pop out, make it be more successful. His original special was in raids applicability block. It's now doing it everywhere. His ultimate was in raids, spread all positive effects, excluding taunt and stealth on self to all. Now it's doing that outside of raids as well. I think you see where we're going with this already. His passive in raids, they gain 30% max health. His updated passive is they're giving that max health outside of raids as well. So the team is going to be tankier as a whole outside of raids. And the dev notes, we've updated the Iron Man Infinity War kit by taking a pass at his abilities and moving some of his mechanics to work outside of raids. So that's all they did to Iron Man, is they moved some of his things outside of raids. Then for Rescue, her special is apply regeneration to self and all allies. In war and raids, it did it to self and all allies, 2 of them. And then in raids, it applied Deathproof and Deflect to self and all Pegasus allies. Now, outside of raids, you are getting that 2 regeneration on everybody, and you're getting the 2 Deathproof and Deflect to the entire Pegasus team. So nothing too crazy there, though that Deathproof and Deflect should be pretty cool. Then her ultimate was in war and raids apply immunity for 2 turns, and then in raids apply speed up for 2 turns. Now it's going to do that outside of raids and war as well, so kind of a everywhere team in that regard. Then the Rescue passive is going to, in war and raids on spawn, bury yourself and all power armor allies and Pegasus allies for 20% of this character's max health. In raids on spawn, apply defense up for 2 turns to self and all Pegasus allies. Then the passive on barrier, bury yourself and all power armor allies. They take everything outside of raid and war, okay? That's what they did. Here's the thing. This passive part at the bottom, the on spawn, apply defense up for 2 turns to self and all Pegasus allies. This is a double-edged sword. If you're going up against teams that are going to flip that defense up immediately, think about A-Force, think about Dark Hunters in war, then this team becomes susceptible to those type of counters. So I think it's pretty funny that they did kind of move all their stuff outside of raid only, but in my brain, I kind of think like this team's going to lose to Dark Hunters, which I'm happy with. A use for Dark Hunters makes me a super happy guy. All right, let's move on over to Ironheart. All right, so carrying on over to the Ironheart, she's got a lot of changes, actually the most. So her basic in raids, it had 4 more Pegasus allies, she would gain immunity. She's now doing that outside of raids. Her special in raids, it would apply immunity for 2 turns to self and all adjacent Pegasus allies. That now does it outside of raids. Her ultimate in raids prolonged the duration of all positive effects on self and the Pegasus by 1. It gained 50% extra focus for each enemy with vulnerable. She's now doing both of those things outside of raids. This is the exact same thing they did with the new Avenger team. Now her passive, this is different. This is different because it has implications. 30% armor in raids on spawn. If this character has 4 more Pegasus allies, generate 2 ability energy for each Pegasus ally. I'm sorry that it got all cut up weird. And they gain an additional 30% armor. Pegasus allies gain additional 30% armor. So now she is simply giving 60% armor to them everywhere. And here's the part that actually matters. The on-spawn energy is happening everywhere. Now this will have implications in other game modes. So that's kind of cool. Remember, she is the fastest character at 120 of the team, though she needs to have the full team to do that. Darkhawk got the least amount of love, so in raids, he got a 30% extra crit chance on his basic, he gets that everywhere, and then on his passive in raids, he was giving crit damage and to himself and his allies. He's now doing that outside of raids. So the big question is, what does this change? Does this team now have value elsewhere in the game? Is it going to be a good war offense team? Is it going to be a good war defense team? Is it going to be a crucible offense and defense team once they take that raid rules out? The answer is no. This team has a speed problem. All the speed was left tied behind raids. The second we didn't get any speed bar from Ironheart on spawn, this rework became meaningless. So let me walk you through my thought process here. This team does have new stats. That they do have that going for them. But if we put them on ward defense and they spawn with deflex and defense up, but the fastest character is Kestrel at 125, who got no extra love. Morbius from the Dark Hunters goes first. In war, his ultimate will flip the defense up and flip the deflex into bleeds. That's going to give the entire Dark Hunter team speed bar. Ghost Rider goes next, then Voodoo, then Elsa, and then everyone's dead. So if you have your Dark Hunters built up to a reasonable level, you're going to be hitting to defense down from the get-go, and you're going to be just destroying. So I think it's a nice gesture that they took everything off of raids. I think who this impacts the most is going to be early to mid-game players who don't have a full war roster already developed. Like if you don't already have your 10 established war defense and war offense teams, then yes, this Pegasus team can now slot in there. And for that reason, I think this rework is a big win. Will they be useful in Crucible? Well, Crucible, unlike War, only needs 6 rooms, 6 offense, 6 defense. They wouldn't make that list by a long shot. Once again, characters that go first here, just one off the top of my head, the Eternals. Icarus is going to turn me to rewind this team, flip the defense up, flip the deflex, then Cersei's going to go do the same thing, and this team is already so slow, going to get absolutely destroyed. We're seeing in chat, Reddit saying they'll lose to Zemo Factor. Well, Zemo hitting into real deflex, there'll be real deflex here, could cause some issues, but not too many. Yeah, I do think Z Factor will probably still win here. Other team that will destroy this is A-Force, especially in War, where the Nico ultimate is not blockable. It's, like I said, it's a nice little change for like early game and mid game players. For the veteran players, this will not make the Pegasus team useful in War on either side. Like even trying to use this team on offense is too slow against the War meta. Like imagine taking this team up against even Marauders. They get stuck behind the taunt. Well, maybe Marauders. So let me change my mind. Imagine taking this team up against Heroes for Hire. We're taking this team up against like a Young Avengers, who Kate is going to flip their buffs right away, and Echo's going to get a bunch of dodges up, and then they're going to go to town. Imagine trying to take this team up against Darkhold, where Morgan's going to flip everything. Against the New Avengers, we're going to just walk over this. Against Infestation, who's going to walk over this. Against Deathseed is going to walk over this. Even though some blinds will miss or get deflected, some will land. The Unlimited team, the Rogue is going to destroy somebody right out the gate, and then Gambit Pings are going to do their thing while Dazzler flips all debuffs and all kinds of stuff like that. So this team, at even builds across the enemy war offense and defense and Crucible offense defensive meta, this team will not stand up to them, and that's okay. It's cool that this will be great for mid and early game players. I think it's a nice little concession they made to make them available elsewhere, and for that, this is a big win. Parts of me does wish, and I suggested this to them, if they could change the base speed of Darkhawk and Iron Man, because they're so slow. 107 is just too slow. If they could adjust the base speed of the characters and then give less speed bar on spawn, this team could have had a lot more value outside. But the way the math worked out, then the team wasn't functioning as well as they need to in raids, and that is their mode. So it is what it is. Look, I think this is a good rework. I think this is better for the majority of players, the mid game and the early game, and for that reason, it's a win. And so I like it. Let me know what you're thinking about these reworks for the Pegasus team in the comment section below. As always, stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.